Welcome to Sotheby's, New York, and thank you for joining us today for this very special program. I'm Charles Stewart, Chief Executive Officer, and I'm joined live by several of my senior-most colleagues from around the world. Together, we have the distinguished pleasure of announcing the landmark sale of the Macklowe Collection here at Sotheby's. This collection needs little introduction, as it truly stands in a league of its own as one of the most significant and museum-quality collections of modern and contemporary art ever to come to market. Featuring works by masters of the 20th and 21st centuries, including Alberto Giacometti, Mark Rothko, Twombly, Andy Warhol, and Gerhard Richter, amongst many others, this collection was assembled with an unparalleled eye over several decades. There can be no doubt that this sale will captivate top collectors from around the world and that it will make history as a defining moment in the art market. And of course, it marks yet another exciting chapter in our 277 years of innovation, expertise, and market firsts. So now, please join my colleagues for a deeper dive into the collection and a look at some of the exceptional pieces that will be on offer. First, a few words from Oliver Barker, our chairman of Sotheby's Europe and auctioneer extraordinaire. Ollie?
Thank you very much. I have to say that of all of the auctions that I've had the privilege of taking in my 25 years career at Sotheby's, these two sales will be, without doubt, a defining moment for me as an auctioneer, just as they will be for the history of the market. And it's a real honor to be taken to the rostrum to conduct them. I think it's fair to say that a collection of this quality would ignite global demand no matter when it appeared on the market. But all the same, I cannot imagine a more perfect time for this collection in particular to come to auction. In recent months, we've seen record demand from across the globe and a real hunger for great masterpieces, with demand far outstripping supply, which is why we believe that collectors, even those who've yet to acquire a work of the caliber seen throughout the Macklowe Collection, will recognize this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for what it really is. There are far too many fantastic works to mention all of them, but personal highlights for me have to include Gerhard Richter's breathtaking Seestück, which condenses the influence of so many great European artists of the past, and especially Caspar David Friedrich, John Constable, and J.M.W. Turner. But at the same time, this spectacular work is a resolutely contemporary, a powerful illustration of Richter's towering status amongst today's living artists. As the art world turns its attention to London for the Great Frieze Week events in October, we are very excited to be presenting a selection of works from the Macklowe Collection, ranging from Pablo Picasso to Sigmar Polke, here in our London galleries. We would love to welcome any of you who may be in London then. But in the meantime, let me hand back now to my colleagues who have the good fortune to be with the works themselves right now in New York.
Thank you, Ollie. Hello, I'm Brooke Lampley, Chairman and Worldwide Head of Sales for Global Fine Art. Vision, passion, and patience. Those are the qualities that define the Macklowe Collection, which is the fruit of 5 decades of thoughtful and tenacious pursuit driven by an innate understanding of quality. The works span the last 80 years, dating from the 1940s through to the last decade, and include masterworks by Alberto Giacometti, Mark Rothko, Twombly, and Andy Warhol. One of the distinguishing features of the collection is its enormous depth. Many artists, among them Bryce Martin, Agnes Martin, Sigmar Polke, and Gerhard Richter, are represented by multiple works which provide a definitive overview of their artistic evolution. These are works I've been familiar with for a long time, but nothing compares to seeing them together like this in person. It's in seeing them like this that the exciting connections and dialogues are revealed, like the surprising interplay between Giacometti's Linné, one of the most extraordinary sculptures I've ever encountered, and Warhol's 9 Marilyns, both of which are underpinned by an almost visceral understanding of the fragility of life and the imperfection of what Giacometti and his friends would call the human condition. Although Linné has not yet arrived at Sotheby's, I am especially excited to tell you about this work. Conceived in the late 1940s, this is a bold and daring work that references both surrealism and African sculpture. The head is powerfully sculpted, the mouth is open and hollow, the neck is impossibly slender, even smaller than the nose's root. For all its strength, there's something fragile about this work. The fact that it is so delicately suspended within a cage heightens this sense of fragility, while also evoking the aggression and tension at the heart of the existential experience so central to Giacometti's art. No other example of this work has ever appeared at auction. The majority of casts were almost all immediately acquired by major museums around the world. This is Giacometti at his most masterful. 9 Marilyns was painted in 1962, which was arguably the most pivotal year in Andy Warhol's career. In August of that year, he began to experiment for the first time with silk screening. His new artistic practice coincided with the untimely death of the actress Marilyn Monroe. For Andy Warhol, Marilyn Monroe was the ultimate embodiment of his artistic obsessions, the power and cult of celebrity, and the spectacle of death and disaster. From the time of her death to the end of the end of that year, Warhol created 20 silkscreen paintings based on a famous publicity photograph of Monroe from the 1953 film Niagara. Of those 20, there are only 6 paintings in which her face is repeated in 9 or more screens. This work from the Macklowe Collection is one of just 2 from this select group that is still in private hands. We can see that in some impressions of Monroe's portrait, the black ink nearly obliterates her face, while in others, it looks like she's disappearing from the canvas right in front of our eyes. However, the image in the center is perfectly resolved, and we see this captivating star at her most beguiling. The luminous metallic background conjures the silver screen of the cinema, and the serial repetition takes on the sinister quality of the tabloid papers which tortured her in life and glamorized her in death. 9 Marilyns is one of Warhol's most arresting paintings and is one of 5 iconic works by the artist in the Macklowe Collection. Now, over to Lisa Dennison, who's going to talk to you about one of her favorite paintings.
Hello, I'm Lisa Dennison, chairman of Sotheby's in the Americas. I am thrilled to be standing in front of this sublime masterwork by Mark Rothko entitled Number 7. Number 7 has been a pivotal work in the Macklowe Collection for 3 decades and speaks to the exceptional caliber of this collection in which every artist is represented at their highest level of achievement. The canvas was executed in 1951, a transformative year when the artist shifted from his preceding multiform paintings to the towering abstract compositions that characterize his mature practice. The most captivating aspect of this work is its vibrant and luminous palette. It is infused with light and unexpected in its bold juxtapositions. The saturated green, brilliant crimson, and ethereal lavender hues really transmit an electric charge that pulsates with energy, delivering a profound optical experience. Number 7 encourages deep contemplation. Soaring to almost 95 inches in height, the painting projects itself into our space on a greater than human scale, engulfing us entirely within its epic expanse. This was very much by design. Rothko believed that the true potential of a picture can't exist without the presence of the beholder. He painted large pictures because he wanted us to be inside the work, not outside of the experience. And for that same reason of intimacy, he wanted us to view the works from close range so that we are bathed in its aura. Number 7 is a work of compositional mastery, the hovering forms held in a delicate balance. The translucent veils of brushed pigment look as if they were breathed onto the canvas. Note in particular the areas where the feathered edges of the color blocks meet the ground, as well as the brilliant horizontal passages which help define and contain the perfectly proportioned radiant forms. First exhibited at the Betty Parsons Gallery in New York in the year it was painted, number 7 has been included in several major exhibitions of Rothko's oeuvre, including the Tate Gallery show in 1987, and the major retrospective exhibition organized by the National Gallery of Art in 1988, which traveled to New York and Paris. A translucent vessel of color and light, this is a painting that must be seen in person. I hope you'll visit the exhibition to experience this transcendent work, as well as the other remarkable artworks in the Macklowe Collection. But first, over to my colleague, Gregoire Billault.
Thank you, Lisa. I'm Gregoire Billault, Chairman of Contemporary Art at Sotheby's in New York. I'm also joining from our New York galleries, currently standing by this gargantuan 18-foot painting by Twombly. One of 6 paintings that the artist completed for the Yvon Lambert Foundation in 2007 for a show titled Blooming, a scattering of blossoms and other things. Using the peony as the center motif, Twombly creates a real cycle of life, a true symphony where the spectator bounces from one area to the other with no beginning or end. It's a total immersion. Many references come to mind, from Edouard Manet, tiny still life of 2 peonies, to the vast nymphaea cycle of Claude Monet. Twombly one more time finds a new way, a new path, a camino real, as he would say. It's different, bold, challenging, when using the most classical motif in art history, flower. Technically, he alternates tiny touches and very large ones. His palette brings together the most delicate almond green and mixes it with the glorious fire truck red. Soft and violent, stunning and complex, the artists continue to challenge the way we look at nature, to surprise us, to innovate. This magnificent painting is presented alongside 2 other works by the artist in the Macklowe Collection. A perfect Roma painting from 1961, and one of the most intriguing blackboard painting from 1969. The 3 works constitute the perfect anthology of Twombly's oeuvre. I could go on and on about the Macklowe Collection and mention the exquisite Sigmar Polter Rastebild, the sublime De Kooning works, or the best group of Agnes Martin to ever hit the market. Time for me to hand it over to my colleague Patti Wong in Hong Kong, who, like all of us, is completely amazed by the Macklowe Collection. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Patti Wong, Chairman of Sotheby's Asia. I really wish I could be with my colleagues in New York today, but in just a few weeks' time, we'll be lucky enough to host a selection of highlights from the Macklowe Collection in Taipei, and then soon after in Hong Kong. It's no secret that the key for Asian collectors is quality, and without wanting to repeat what's already been said, this collection is characterized by quality across the board. Each work is just from the right date and has the kind of provenance and exhibition history that just is what collectors here and everywhere else want. I work with clients who have been buying major Western art for more than a decade. But this last year has only served to underline the growing importance of Asian collectors in the market. New Asian collectors are entering the field in unprecedented numbers and are ready to engage at the highest levels. To underline this, it is worth pointing out that of the top 20 works sold by Sotheby's around the world in 2020, Asian clients took home 9. And works offered in the last year with a low estimate of $5 million or more, collectors in Asia have accounted for nearly 50% of the total amount bid. With so many great things to choose from, it's hard to single out favorites, but I particularly love the Late Blossoms painting by Twombly. With its huge scale and power, its inspiration from Japanese poetry, and his amazing exhibition history, including his appearance at the legendary Collection Lambert in Avignon. And then there's the mesmerizing 1951 Rothko, which has spent considerable time in illustrious museums. I could go on, but I think I better stop here and hand you back to my colleagues in New York.
Thank you, Patti, and hello, everyone. I'm Mari-Claudia Jiminez, and I'm the Chairman, Managing Director, and Worldwide Head of Business Development for Global Fine Art. For each one of my colleagues around the world who is involved in bringing this collection to market, this is clearly a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and one that we, are honored to embrace. The Macklowe Collection will be offered in two parts, the first in November 2021, and the second in May 2022. And together, the sales are estimated to bring in excess of $600 million. The preview exhibition, now open in our New York galleries through September 12th, features highlights that represent the depth and the breadth of the Macklowe Collection. In the coming weeks, highlights will travel to Taipei, Hong Kong, Los Angeles, London, and Paris before returning to New York ahead of the November sale. Those unable to visit one of our exhibitions will discover a wealth of information online at Sotheby's.com. Our comprehensive digital presentation will include virtual exhibitions and tours, extensive video, interactive multimedia features, and in-depth scholarly essays on the works, and will enable collectors to immerse themselves in this collection. We look forward to seeing you in our galleries, but first, a few last words from Charlie.
Thank you, Marie-Claudia, and many thanks to all my colleagues for their exceptional insight and expertise. Like them, I am just enthralled by the beauty of this collection. We are so honored to have been entrusted with a collection of this magnitude, rarity, and quality, and I encourage all of you to come to one of the exhibitions around the world to view it for yourselves. Thank you for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you very soon.